Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 16, Round 16 of the Championship. Welcome to the Marina Bay Street Circuit. This is the Singapore Grand Prix. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in for some absolutely fantastic racing tonight. Just me in the commentary today. No Pope, unfortunately, who hopefully be back with us next week, if not the week after. But looking forward to getting what should be a fantastic race underway here on a circuit that I don't believe that may have been modified the last time we were here, but I'm not entirely sure on that fact. Maybe we have to go back. But this may be our first time in at least quite a while that we see the RDL drivers taking on the newly revamped Marina Bay Street Circuit. In particular, the end of the second sector, which was formerly a complex of chicanes underneath the bridge, and that is now removed. It's just a long straight. No DRS in play though down that straight, so of course we have to look out for drivers using pure skill and straight line speed to overtake on corner exits. It's a tight corner, it's a tight right hander, they're making their way out of for that end of the second sector. So we'll keep an eye out tonight for anyone looking to pull the move from that perspective. Running ball with Imrie here. He'll be looking to set the first qualifying lap of the session. Of course, the big story, the Drivers' Championship still on the line right now. Grumio leads by 5 to Landlord, but Landlord not here with us tonight. Only 19 cars. He's the one car who's not on the grid for tonight's race. And elsewhere, Flying Duck is now in the AlphaTauri barrier, paving the way for Duck to make his debut full-time for AlphaTauri. So here comes Imrie at the last corner, taking on a lap of the Marina Bay Street Circuit here. It's a long run towards that first corner, relatively long. Careful in turn 1 of any carnage. So we saw Vettel, Verstappen and Raikkonen collide in 2017. Very tight opening first few corners of the curve on the exit there. It's not a raised curve, so you can get away with that a bit more. McLaren there on your right. That would be C110P fan. It could be bad manners reserving for BJ tonight. Down the first proper DRS straight on the circuit. Protection zone at the exit of turn number 3. Into the left-hander we come. Imrie keeping away from the curbs on entry. And now into slightly more closed off second sector. Back over to the left and very close to that barrier on the right hand side there. Be careful, it sort of kicks out of you there. Now towards section where it all came undone for Imrie last season. Now very tight left hand, you need a good exit here because DRS is in play and it's crucial you get it. Imrie rocks towards the second sector split. 1 minute 3.4. So this second sector is part of the last sector, so that's not a mistake there. Going close to the left hand side of the wall there, and now charging towards the part of the sector that has remained into the last chicane. And on the exit, Imrie looking for a good time to keep qualifying off here. So very fast 2 left-handers to finish the lap, and Imrie's first time won at 28.193. It's a fantastic start to qualifying. We'll see if anyone can top that. PJ going second in the Alpine, 1 minute 29.7. PJ still chasing his teammate Ethan in the Drivers' Championship right now. Alpine currently sitting in 7th place, looking to close the gap on Haas. And speaking of Haas, Ferguson's just gone into 2nd place. Flying Duck on a full-time debut goes 3rd. 1 minute 29.374. First on the board for the AlphaTauris, who still sit bottom of the Constructors' Championship. Combination of both Lycon and Flying Duck in the race tonight, so could be looking at potentially some more points to try and get them off the foot of the table. Here's Gaming James. Of course, still running off that podium a few weeks ago back in, my memory serves me incorrectly, back in the Netherlands, which was 2 weeks ago. Here he comes towards the line. Oh, bit of a squirrely exit there. Off the corner, Gaming James goes second. He's close to Imrie there. Just over a 10th in it. You see the Red Bull there of Grovey starting her first flying lap. It's been a full season now since Grovey joined the RDL. Of course, this was quite a chaotic race for her last time around. 5 pit stops on debut, a number of safety cars, and in the end she came home in 5th place. So quickly established as an early contender. And she's still in with the shout in the Drivers' Championship this season. 19 points the gap between her and Grumio. She'll be needing to close that gap a little bit, as she did last week with finishing 2nd place in Italy. But of course it was Landlord who took the top step of the podium that day. Of course, Landlord is his first win of the campaign. Landlord yet to win prior to last week in season 16 as Cock goes fast. It's 1 minute 28.026. I've heard a lot of chatter around the paddock that we were looking at around 28 zeros to kick things off, and Cock maybe starting to rediscover some of that old qualifying form we saw from him last season. towards the latter stages of this, towards the tracks in the latter stage of the calendar. So we'll keep an eye on that. But Cott going provisional pole. Imrie down second. James now in third. Ethan's come out on the racetrack. He's at 1 minute 29.4. It's 3/10 clear of his teammate. Because Ethan 11 points from this campaign so far. His closest competitor in terms of the cars in front is Curtis, who sits P9, 17 points to his name. Curtis runs P9 at the minute. Alfa Romeo sitting in 4th place in the constructor standings. Can't quite close on the top 3 as it stands. Is Fred J about to start his first flying lap. Of course, Red J is one of 3 drivers now who's yet to score this season. So Red J and Courtney Goblin yet to finish inside of the top 8. And of course, we include Flying Duck in that group, as he is yet to score a full-time championship point. He's been a reserve up to this stage. I'm being told here that outrageous stat for you guys here. So Scott's initial time, his banker lap, we're told, that 1 minute 28.026 has already beaten last season's pole time, which is very impressive. We'll have to see what the Williams of Grumio could do to match that. His first lap wasn't fantastic, but he put it in there for a second lap, 1 minute 28.3, catch the record champion over the line. Of course, he's 5 points to good in the standings, and with Landlord out the picture tonight, a win here could move him a maximum of 15 points clear. And we can't see Grovey move into second place, but we'll see her close the gap should she win the race. And of course, a number of contenders in Imrie and Cott who could snatch from both these 2 cars today. So in terms of title contenders, these are the 2 to keep your eye on, the Williams and the Red Bull. But that Ferrari and Alfa Romeo could have their own say in the racing tonight as well. So we should be in for some marvellous action. Grovey slots into 4th place on her first lap. Into the pit lane she comes now. Still waiting on 6 more cars set lap times, 4 of whom are in the pits. Lucky Lambert is out on the racetrack, as is Red J. Red J on his way through now to finish his first flying lap. We'll see where it puts him on the board. Not a fantastic start. The P14 from 1 minute 32.7. And I see Wisburn into the pit lane here. Wisburn's best time 1 minute 29.9. So he's got work to do, as the Red Bull team will bring him back into the garage and they can try and prepare for another run. I see one of the Alfa Romeos there. That would be Cott going back out to the racetrack for a second run. Perhaps he thinks he can improve. And I imagine, given that this was a banker lap from Cott, I dare say we could see a 127 somewhere tonight. Potentially in the last few moments of qualifying. Of course, we've seen qualifying change in terms of provisional poles. We've seen it change hands in the late stages in the last few weeks. It's led to some absolutely fantastic qualifying session conclusions. So car down the racetrack. That is Lucky Lambert, one of the now 5 drivers yet to set a time. He's the only one out on the racetrack. As JB, as I say, that comes out onto the circuit himself. So Lucky Lambert for Aston Martin. We'll see where he puts himself over the line. It's 1 minute 29.9. That's enough for P12 in the running order. JB on his outlap now, so looking to try and match his teammate if he can, if not exceed it. Aston Martin P9 in the constructors right now, chasing Mercedes. From what I have here on my screen, I'll give you the exact gaps as it stands right now. AlphaTauri sitting on 7 points, Mercedes on 15, and Aston Martin are on 12. And saying that, a high score from either Mercedes or Aston Martin could put them on par, if not above, Haas or Alpine. That's as high as 6th place. So potentially we could be. Oh, JB with a bit of a mistake there over the curbs in the second sector. Potentially a high score from any of those 2 teams. Perhaps even a high score from AlphaTauri. Imrie goes faster than 1 minute 27.9. Sorry, it took me a second to notice that, but Imrie now exceeding Cott's time. So that's the first 27 we'll see. And I dare say, though, with plenty of time still to go in the session, we're going to see quite a few more. We could see perhaps 3, 4, even 5 cars setting either low 28s, low 28s or high 27s. Don't count these guys out. See James there on his next lap. Fergus from his outlap into pit lane. Flying Duck will join him there. PJ Callan in sector 2. He's a 10th up in his first sector. So we'll see if he can improve on that any further. Grumio and Grove both on that lap as well. So I dare say we'll be seeing them giving it another crack at now it's now Imrie's pole time. on board with the Alpine to make his way towards the second sector split. We'll see what he's got. Running towards that very tight right-hander. He's still 10th up, so 1 minute 4.438. That'll improve his time, but it won't be enough as it stands to put him in front of his teammate in 8th place. With the last of the point scoring positions. There we go. Got the words out in the end. We'll see what PJ can do here as he comes through the last couple corners towards the line. And he's calling it quits. PJ to the pit lane here. Keep an eye on the car behind him. Looks to be Wisburn, who's on his outlap, about to start his next time run. Here he goes. Wisburn with a podium last week. It was the Bulls who dominated the podium, but Landlord who stood on the all-important top step at the end of the day. Of course, a late gamble for tyres with Grumio didn't quite sit too well on the racetrack. He came charging through the field, but it wasn't enough to reclaim a podium position. And he did lose a little bit of ground in the championship as a result, with Landlord winning the race and Grovey finishing in second. And yet by this point he still leads by quite a way. 5 to Landlord and 19 to Grovey. Grumio then starts his next lap. 6 minutes to go on the mark. Caught down in his second sector massively, so I dare say we'll see him in here. Crucially, no damage to Alfa Romeo. Oh, that was very close. Locked up the car and only just. There was a bit of contact with the barrier, but he kept it out. JB into the pit lane. Sorry, is that JB? Yep, he's just been brought in by the Aston Martin team. I've been told he's taken his front wing off. So apologies for not picking that up, but costly mistake perhaps from JB that keeps him dead last right now. Only 3 drivers yet to set lap times. Lycon in the AlphaTauri, Courtney Goblin in the Haas, and JB in the Aston Martin. Crucially, cars all with teams in the bottom 5 of the championship. So these guys, they want to score them points. They have to get their skates on, get back on the racetrack, and hopefully set us a time. Badman running P5 here, actually outdoing the current champion C110 P5, of course, to my knowledge, is a former Singapore winner. He won here back on F1 at 22. Of course, Badman's done fantastic on his reserve races since his return, so we'll see what he can do in the McLaren tonight. Driving the car of last season's sub-champion. Excuse me, sorry, no, that's incorrect. The last season's sub-champion was Websy. Websy is also not here tonight. It's Fergus in his place. Grumio back in the pit lane here. Grovey on her outlap. Perhaps looking at this and maybe one more run. Well, this could be our last one. We'll have to wait and see. And again, Imri's 1:27.9 still remains the time to beat. But plenty of time for things to change. We've seen it happen later in the session. Fergus running P7 right now. Looking at his first sector, it looks like it was equal to his first one on his previous best effort, which is fantastic. We'll see if he can improve it. He can. He's up by a 10th and a half. Let's keep an eye on this lap here. Right on board with the Haas to make its way into the last few corners. Out the chicane and looking for the last 2 left-handers here. Imri back on the racetrack. Good into the lap there for Fergus. Moves him up a place to P6. So that's in front of James and back onto the 3rd row. James now has Ethan for company on row 4. Flying Duck running P10 right now. Of course, if he can contend for points in these late stages. And look at this. This is fantastic. 8 different manufacturers, all in the top 8 right now. Just shows you just how competitive the field's been this season. Oh, well, of course, we do have our 3 runaway leaders in the Drivers' Championship. The actual races themselves, at least in terms of raw qualifying pace, have been absolutely fantastic to watch. Just under 2.5 minutes left now. And we're waiting on the next few runners. Imrie on his outlap, as I say. Grumio's just come out of the pit lane himself. Imrie P1 doing an excellent job as it stands. Cock coming out the racetrack. We'll see what he can do. Remember, that first bank lap he did was enough for the last season's pole time. Grovey out there right now, 3/10 down in her second sector. That's not brilliant. This is just backing off to rebuild the ERS and go for another lap. We could be in for a very exciting end to qualifying here with all of our major contenders on the racetrack. Almost everyone's out there. Only cars now there right now are Ethan, Red J, and Lycon. We see Courtney Goblin on the circuit. As they one of 3 drivers yet to score in this campaign. A group of drivers that was formerly just 2, being himself and Red J in the Ferrari. Red J still needs to improve on that previous effort. 1 minute 32.721. His best run so far. 1 minute to go. All these drivers on outlaps are going to have to find some clean air and find it quick and get themselves over to the line. Because they haven't got long. I imagine drivers like C110P perhaps are in a bit of danger of Max perhaps not making it back around again. JB up into P11 over the line. They're good lap. Grumio starts his last effort. See Courtney Goblin over the line to start his last one. Badman over the line. And Fergus retiring from the session. I believe he's called it in the pit lane. Yes, he has. 20 seconds. Cott will make it round in time. It looks like Fan will too. And Imrie might get one last try here. He's down in his second sector. But only by a 10th. He could potentially improve. Oh, he's gone wide down validated it. Oh, he's kept it. And that he kept it on the track, kind of. But lost his wing. And he better hope that lap's enough. Because qualifying for him is over. He crossed the line in time, but he won't make it for another effort. Grovey a quarter of a second down on her previous effort out of Sector 2. It looks like it would be P4 at best for her here. She comes towards the line. Yep, P4. Next car through, one of the Alpha Tauris. That would be Flying Duck into the pit lane. Here comes Shane over the line. Shane for P15. Behind, all eyes on Curtis now in the Alfa Romeo. Can Curtis improve? He can, up to P11. Next car through will be... that is the Williams of Grumio. Grumio who is up by 3/10. A bit more and he could be putting himself on pole here. Can the record champion nab it at the death? He can! And by about a 10th or so, he gained a lot in that final sector. Grumio now on provisional pole. Courtney Goblin towards the line, puts himself P17. Everyone's set a lap except for Lycon. Batman into the pit lane, P5 at best for him. Here comes Wisburn. Wisburn towards the line, up to P7 behind. Lucky into P11. Cott goes fastest by 2/10. Change once again after the checkered flag as Cott puts himself in pole position. Imrie with no wing has been knocked off the front row completely. He'll start third. Grovey in fourth. And Cott will head Grumio on the run towards turn 1. What a fantastic session, a fantastic end to qualify that was. Fantastic lap. About 4/10 or so gained from what was the initial pole time going into the last minute. So it's Cott on pole from Grumio and Imrie. Grovey in 4th, Badman will start 5th, Fergus 6th, Wisburn 7th, Gaming James 8th, C110P Fan 9th, and Ethan Rally your top 10. So that's your top half. We'll be back within a few minutes' time for the start of the race. Welcome back then. Welcome back to the Singapore Grand Prix, round 16 of the championship here in the Racers Driving League for season 16. And we're in for what should be a fantastic evening of racing under the lights. Circuit. Look at your track for tonight. Of course, our previous winner, Salve Grumio, will start second. So on the front row, alongside our pole sitter Cop 5, looking to win the race to the first corner, something he struggled with over the course of the season. But the record champion looking to add to his lead in the Drivers' Championship. 5 points in front of the absent Landlord and 19 in front of the ever-present Grovey, looking to bring home the title. Everything on the line for these guys. 7 rounds left to go by my count. I will confirm that for you. That is correct, yes, 7 rounds. Those rounds being so Singapore tonight, followed by Japan, Qatar, Kota, Mexico, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi. However, that could be subject to change after the vote for the reverse grid finale in the last round of the season. So we'll see who's got what it takes to conquer Marina Bay tonight. 31 laps of racing coming your way from one of the most demanding street circuits on the calendar. We're about a minute away from the formation lap here. Qualifying, the gap was quite vast between a lot of drivers on the racetrack. And hopefully things keep nice and clean on the start. That'll be the main focus for this opening phase of the Grand Prix. Of course, a race that has treated us to quite a bit of weather in recent seasons, but it looks all dry tonight. No risk of any rain to my knowledge. However, I'm sure we'll find out later on if that is indeed the case. Of course, several reserves in the race tonight. Fergus in for Websy. Badman is also in for BJ. And a driver change since the last Grand Prix. Barry departs the AlphaTauri team. He's replaced by Flying Duck. Duck, of course, performed fantastically in the last couple of races. Will hopefully join a list of successful debutants in the RDL. Of course, one of whom made her debut here last season and came home to a P5 finish. That is, of course, our 4th place starter, Grovey, who as we mentioned in qualifying, made 5 pit stops that day and came home with a points finish. So we'll see if Flying Duck can follow that on his full-time debut tonight. Here we go for the formation lap. Then we'll have a look at your starting lineup for tonight's Singapore Grand Prix. Start in the back row. Lycon starts on his own on row 10 to the inside in the AlphaTauri. He's on the hard tyres. As the same choice for the row 8 starters, that would be for row 9 starters, that would be Courtney Goblin and Red J 17th and 18th. Shane starts 16th on the mediums for Mercedes, and JB alongside him in P15 for Aston Martin. Curtis, the lone taker on the soft tyres here, looking to try and match the pace of his teammate, our pole sitter. That would be Cott. So Curtis lines up in P14. PJ Khaled, beaten by his teammate Ethan, starts P13 for Alpine. The team whose resurgence has perhaps fallen a little stagnant in the last few races. They'll be hoping for a resurgence here tonight if they can. Lucky Lambert starts P11 in the other Aston Martin, the lead Aston Martin for tonight, and alongside him is Flying Duck, of course, making his full-time debut. We'll see if he can follow Grovey's act of points last season, which could be harder given the top 8-point system, but we'll see how it goes. Ethan closes off your top 10 in the other Alpine starts on the hard tyres. So differing strategies for the Alpine team. We'll see if it plays off for them. Reigning champion C110P fan, former Singapore winner, lines up P9 on the mediums. Just in front of him, it's Gaming James and Wisburn, 2 debutants from this season, not from tonight, but they've obviously made their respective debuts over the course of the season. Both of these guys having scored podium finishes already in their first few races in the RDL. Fergus starts in P6, fantastic qualifying for the Haas team. Sort of what we expect from his usual driver of that car, Websy. Badman starts P5, highest qualifying reserve for today's race in the McLaren, placing BJ. Grovey starts from P4, already improving on her P5 finish from last season, looking to try and get on a podium if she can and close that 19-point gap in the standings. Imrie starts from P3, predicted but to sort of nab pole, but of course lost it on his last lap, lost the wing, and with it lost the spot on the front row. Grumio starts from P2, record champion with a 5-point lead, looking to advance even further towards that record extending 7th crown. And Cott starts from pole position in the Alfa Romeo, looking to add to his lone win from Austria earlier on in the season. We're looking to get a broadcasted Cott win under our belts here tonight on the Zach RC channel. Make sure to subscribe if you are new for the thrilling climax of this RDL season as 3 drivers go head-to-head for the title. The only driver in that trio not here tonight would be Landlord. Hopefully I'm back this next week, and hopefully for him, Grumio won't gain too many points from tonight's race. We'll see what happens as we'll be waiting for the lights, under the lights, here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Lycon in the AlphaTauri taking the last spot on the grid. Red J going into his spot. There's Cockney Goblin just in front of Lycon as he gets into that last space, and we're waiting now on the lights. Here they come. Let's get underway here in Singapore. Lights out, foot to the floor. Round 16 is underway. Good start from Koch. They hook him on the lead going in towards that first corner. Grumio on the inside being challenged by Imri. Into turn 1 they go. Bit of contact. Imri goes off the racetrack. Goes wide going towards turn 3. Contact again. Yellow flag behind them there. What has happened here? Big incident. And that is Ferguson's form from P6 to the back of the field. Everyone looks to get through unscathed. No real damage. Koch leads away from Grumio, then Imri, Grovey, Badman, James flying duck into P7 and Lucky Lambert behind. See Curtis in P9 on those soft tyres there. Fantastic getaway from the Alfa Romeo. Wisburn rounds at your top 10 fan. Falling back a bit there. He looks to challenge Ethan for P13. Ethan dropping back here. Is there a problem with the Alpine? It looks to be okay. He's got no front wing. No front wing on the Alpine machine. That'd be a big struggle for him on this opening lap. This start could not have gone worse for him. And I imagine we'll be seeing him into the end of the pit lane in the first lap for a change in wing. Get himself back on the racetrack again. Koch leads by 8 tenths now from Grumio, then Imri. Your top 3 as it stands. Grovey running back there in 4th. Still chasing the 3 leaders as they make our way through the second sector here. Through one of the toughest braking zones on the circuit. That left-hander, it's crucial to get right, especially if you're going for a move. And Ethan really holding up this train here. Those guys now 3 seconds back from P14 Lycon. Connie Goblin starts to make his way through. I imagine Ethan won't hold his teammate too much as PJ Khaled. And you see Ethan the lifting there, allowing his teammate to go through as Koch completes the first lap of the race. Very good start from the Alfa Romeo over the record champion in the Williams. And the top 3 have pulled away a little bit here. Grovey about 8 tenths back from Imri right now. And James keeping pace too. Badman perhaps falling off a little bit, or falling behind rather. Badman chasing down course 1 lap till DRS comes into play. The only cars who wouldn't have it right now would be Wisburn, PJ, and also Ethan now as well. Ethan making the change onto a set of medium tyres. Perhaps starting on the hards has cost him here because I imagine he wanted to run hards for as long as he could, then run mediums, perhaps even soft at the end of the race. But can't quite do that today. He had to hope for a safety car to get himself back on a set of hard tyres, perhaps even another set of mediums and run to the end of the race from there. Grumio getting to work now. He's chasing down Koch. That gap's been brought down to 3 tenths between the 2 leaders. And Grovey falling away here at risk of losing DRS. Remember, a Grumio win today, regardless of where Grovey finishes, could bring the challenge gap up to over 10 points. That's over a race victory under this point system. Only 10 points for the win. At the gap as it stands, 5 points. That gap goes to minimum 15. Oh, yellow flag, and that is Fergus for the 2nd time in 2 laps. Virgil safety car has been deployed. He's lost his front wing. And I imagine Ethan won't be too pleased either. He'd rather have a full safety car to get himself back into the mix. But the field is neutralised for a minute, down to a reduced speed. No overtaking, of course. And we may not get DRS this time round. We may not get DRS for the run out towards turn 6, that left-hander. Top 4 are well together now. Grovey's closed back in. Game and James now 2nd behind. Fergus retiring from the session there. Has he crashed it? I'm not sure if he crashed it or not. Obviously, I imagine he must have, otherwise he wouldn't have pulled the car over, I don't think. But could that be a full safety car? Is it too late to call a full safety car? So we could be seeing a VRC come to an end here. Fergus's car has despawned, so it looks like we're going to keep on going as it is. Green flag waiting to go back in the air here. No DRS in play just yet. Imri will look to pounce on Grumio as soon as he can. We're just waiting here. So Fergus becomes our first retiree of the night. Disappointing after a fantastic qualifying with Sobop in P6. So look forward to seeing again his next reserving opportunity later on in the season, because there definitely will be more. Just waiting for that green flag now. And there we go. Green flag goes back out. We are back underway on lap number 3. And Grumio will be right in position to receive DRS here. We could be seeing a lead change potentially if he gets a good enough exit. There's the detection point, that white line going into the braking zone. So Grumio has it. Whether Imri does or not could be a concern. Grovey may have it. Nothing for Imri. Something for Grovey. And something for Grumio, who's closing in, but didn't get a good enough exit off the corner. Running in the dirty air, the Alfa Romeo. Curtis making moves. He's looking at Lucky Lambert for P8. He takes Lucky Lambert for P8. So Curtis is up into the points. Behind one of the Aston Martins, the other one is looking to challenge Wisburn. That's JB. Moving up, looking to challenge. About half his battery left at this point. Run over the curbs there. Losing a little bit of time, and looks like Lucky Lambert's got a problem. No end plate on Aston Martin. Pulling into the pit lane here, so another early stopper. After wing damage. Up front, it's still Cop. Grumio gets a proper opportunity to attack here. I doubt he'll close the gap enough to go for a move. He stays there. Goes a bit wide there over the curb on exit. Top 4 have pulled away here. Gaming James now 2 seconds back from those guys. He's holding off that train of Badman, Flying Duck, and Curtis is there as well. Curtis needs to close the gap a little bit more. Yeah, 1.4 seconds. He needs about half a second to get DRS off these guys. As Ethan sets the fastest up in the race. Of course, no fastest at that point. Merely pride on the line there, and Ethan's got it for the minute. But having that clean air and fresh medium tyres definitely helping his case in that respect. Shane moving up, looking to try and challenge JB, who's still working on Wisburn as it stands. That's now for P9, thanks to Lucky Lambert stop. He's closing, but it's not enough right now. 5-car train there. Headed by Wisburn and footed by Lycon, the AlphaTauri. Of course, coming from dead last. Six places gained in 4 laps. We'll have a look at your position change here. Cott sets the fastest lap, gets it back for himself. And Grovey takes it too. So your top 4 remain constant of these first 4 laps. The biggest gainer so far has been Lycon. As I said, he is tied with Curtis. Both of them have 6 places gained. JB and Shane have both gained 5. So good start to them too. And our biggest dropper in terms of cars on the racetrack will be Ethan, who of course dropped down from P10 to P18 after need to make that pit stop. And Fergus dropping 13th. He is unfortunately out of the race. Remind of your tyres there on the right as well. So it looks like the mediums was the main preference for a lot of drivers on the racetrack. So we're looking at perhaps slightly shorter first stints than those on the hard tyres. They're going to drivers like Imri, Grovey, Badman, Wisburn, Lycon, Cottney Goblin, and Red J there as well. So those guys all on the hard tyres. Curtis will have to look at the shortest first stint, at least on paper. Whether we'll take him further, we're not quite sure. Of course, there's always the threat of a safety car around the street circuits. Let's keep an eye out for that too. Cott looking to break DRS, and he's done just that. Grumio is not there. The rear wing not open, but Grovey's is. You can start to close in on Imri here. Of course, crucially, a move close to Imri, or could be an overtake, and a move then closer to Grumio, her main rival in the championship. It's just those 3 cars, Grumio, Landau, and Grovey. Their closest challengers being Imri, who is on 46 points for the season. That's 50 off the lead. Grumio looking to break the 100-point barrier. Be the first driver to do so in this season, and under the points. On to lap 6. It's a long race, long and challenging. Yellow flag, and that is Lycon, who spun it in a very, very risque position off the last corner. Looks like he's kept out of the wall. No damage done to the AlphaTauri, so we'll be able to keep going, but he's going to lose a place or two potentially. Loses one to Cottney Goblin, he won't lose the other one to Red J. But he gets right back to work. Looks like a mistake from Cottney Goblin, went too deep there. And that allows Lycon back through for P14 and get back to work, but it's 8 seconds to PJ in front. And JB defending from Shane. Oh, JB goes off the circuit. Shane goes back at him around the outside. Cub Fan took advantage too. Long-time veteran JB and current series champion Fan could be going toe-to-toe here. And both of them chasing after Shane. Wisburn there in P9 in the world of his own right now. He's about 2.5 seconds back from Curtis, but 1.5 in front of that pack. Let's see if JB can come back at him with DRS. He needs a good exit off the corner. a bit tighter on exit that time round in terms of we're about to come off the corner. So still continues to chase. But poor exit from Shane here. Could see him take advantage. He's got closer, not using his overtake. Shane is. Could JB be keeping an eye out for that main straight? Where, of course, there is DRS in play. Oh, a bit of a wobble there from the Aston Martin. Could the McLaren go for a move behind? It's all very close at this stage of the game. Very early on in the Grand Prix. A lot of time for things to change. Poor exit from Shane. JB goes to the inside. Fan following him. And now Fan's the outside looking. It's a spectacular fight for P10. Looks like JB's got it, but he goes over the curb. And only just holds off Fan there. And Shane will be looking with DRS as Grumio up front takes the lead of the race. Change the lead. Grumio now on top. Cottle, but with a bit of a wobble on the exit of turn number 6. And into 7. Grumio away. The record champion back in the top spot. We'll go back to the fight here between JB and now Fan. And Fan's the inside. That'll be the outside for turn number 6. And now Fan wins the battle there between himself, JB and Shane. But don't expect JB to get up so easily. He's still right there in the Aston Martin. Shane falling away from these two now. Needs to get himself back up. Oh! Slide there from the Silver Arrow. And that'll put him out of DRS and potentially out the fight here. As PJ will close on him now. Up front. The top two have pulled away from Imrie and Grovey, who are still nose to tail. Or about as nose to tail as you can be on a circuit like this. And Cott is falling away. He's about 8 tenths back. Grumio has really dropped the hammer and got to work here. As by comparison, just from this lap alone, it almost seems as though Cott has, compared to Grumio's lap time there, down tools. But a poor exit from Grumio. He ran a bit wide there. As we saw with Shane on the last lap. Grumio, a bit of a slide on the exit, almost ran off the circuit. And it's almost eerily similar to what happened to Imrie on his last qualifying lap. Badman looking to make a move on James with P5. Flying duck behind both these guys. A little bit further back, so not quite close enough to make a move for either one of them. But that hard-tired McLaren looking to take on that medium-tired Mercedes. I'm getting deja vu from the race for P10. All we need is another Aston Martin. Lucky Lambert, where are you? Of course, Lucky also made his first stop earlier on. He's on the medium tyres. Badman can't quite make a move there. James didn't need to defend the inside, but you can see he's making moves to do it. Badman wasn't close to that time around, but he's still giving that Mercedes constant pressure across the first sector and into sector 2. Keep an eye on this battle position. 1.7 seconds separates Cott from Imrie right now. Oh, a bit of a slide from the Red Bull on exit. Those guys, 7 seconds to good over James Badman and Flying Duck. Curtis. Oh, as a sliding Wisburn behind him. It's practically an ice rink for these guys out here. DRS engaged for Wisburn, who pulls to the inside of the race, looking to outbreak the Alfa Romeo on the run towards the right-hander. And Wisburn's through. So Wisburn now snatches that last point. Fan behind him in P10. Pulling away, he's pulled away from JB and Shane. He's really got to work here and he's closed the gap massively. It's down to 1.3 seconds now. Oh, but here comes Curtis into the pit lane here. His first stint to an end. Those soft tyres have worked their magic. Curtis gained 6 places across that first stint. Fantastic start for him. And I imagine we're looking at perhaps a set of mediums to the end. Sorry, excuse me, a set of, not to the end, but a set of mediums nonetheless. And a wing change too. Not sure if he had damage or not, at least in terms of what we could see on our screens here. But Curtis is away. Good stop from Alfa Romeo, which is more because we can say for Kick Sauber so far this season. Grumio has Cott hunting him like a man possessed, still looking to keep that gap close, but Grumio is pulling away and Cott is hanging on by Grumio's coattails. And in fact, he was out of DRS range that time. That could make his job a lot harder. Grovey about 6 tenths back from Imrie right now. And Badman can't close on James enough. Into chicane once again. Look how close Badman gets, but on the exit, James can just pull away. And that's all he needs for the minute to keep the McLaren at bay. Almost a third of the way through the race now. It's been exciting so far. A number of interesting battles in these early laps of the way. Fan has closed the gap to Wisburn. He's within DRS range now. While JB will now be holding off PJ Khaled, who's taken Fan's place in this little scrap. Shane, once again, a background member here, but looking to close in to try and take both of them on and get that P10 back. Remember, he held it at the start of that fight. And not a lot of contact and drama. The main bit of drama being, of course, Fergus's spin on the first lap, and then the contact that got rid of Ethan's wing, and of course Fergus crashing in sector 2, bringing out the VSC, and then his retirement. Grimio, the gap now 1.4 seconds to Cott. Imri's 2 back, and Grovey only just keeping it in DRS range. I think she had it that time. She did. With the right hand, keeping away from that curb there on the entry. Badman's closing, but it's not enough right now. Let's watch this train here. PJ is close. Could we see him make a move on JB? DRS deploy for both cars behind the Aston Martin. It may take a bit, either a bit of energy or a longer straight for PJ to get a real go at JB into that right hander there. But a poor exit from the Aston Martin, allowing, or at least by comparison, a poor exit, allowing the Alpine to close just a little bit more. In the chicane again. These guys are running very different lines here. James and Badman dueling up front for P5. Badman has the inside lane. James is upstairs and looks to fall away here. And for the minute, Badman's got him. But can James come back at him with DRS and his battery deployed too? He's going for it. James to the inside. Badman can't defend in time. Move the Mercedes back into P5. But Badman looking to switch back, can't quite do it. Meanwhile, PJ Khaled on the move as well. They run towards turn 6 themselves. Into the left-hander they go. PJ was there, but JB just about shuts the door. Robust and fair. And maintains P10 for the moment. And holds these guys up further. Grimio has got to work here. 2.2 seconds down. The driver, of course, attempts to go back-to-back. Remember, this was his third win of the season last year. He picked up 2 early wins in season 15, 1 in Saudi Arabia and 1 in Australia. Didn't win until this Grand Prix then came around. And that was a 13 race winless streak. Grimio went about 3 months or so without RDR victory, which is a long time given the form of Cinnamon this season. Grovey still chasing Imri here. Isn't really getting much closer. She wants that spot on the podium, or at the very least just to minimise that gap to Grimio in the standings, but can't do it, or at least rather minimise the damage that is caused by Grimio being the lead right now. PJ and JB fighting here in the first sector. Oh, but the slide from JB on the exit allows PJ back in the picture. And Shane behind them looking to pick up any scraps that could potentially come from this bout. Shane slides on the exit and now sits side by side with the Alpine. He gets the Alpine. Could he get the Aston Martin too? Is there a chance for a double overtake here? Shane to the inside. Can he outbreak the Aston Martin? He's there. Oh, couldn't quite do it. Shane gets one, doesn't get the other. So JB again maintains P10. And Lycon is closing the gap now too. So we could see a 4-car race for P10. And it's just a shame that this isn't the last point. That point currently goes to Wisburn, who is holding off C110P fan for P8. Flying Duck waiting to pick up anything from Badman and James, who are still going at it for P5. And C110P fan gets the first time penalty tonight. There's 3 seconds for track limits. So we're managing that for the remainder of the Grand Prix. as of right now, that wouldn't actually it'd lose him nothing. He'd still be in P9. JB and Co. 9.3 seconds back at the minute. They come across to start lap 13. And the DRS zones, 3 of them on the circuit, keeping them all very close together. And does Badman come back at James here? He's got very little battery. See that red light flashing on the back of the McLaren. He pulls to the outside though. Shane has the inside to going in. Badman looking to switch back. Can't quite do it this time. James has got him covered on the exit. He knows the game. He knows what Badman's trying to do. He's not letting him do it just yet. And Flying Duck still, I can tell he's thinking he's got a front row seat for this fantastic fight. But is definitely chomping at the bit to try and get involved with these two. As Wisburn, C1 SMP fan look to start closing that gap to them. Could we see a 5-car race for P5 and those last few points paying positions? Looks like Imrie and Grovey are closing the gap on Cock. Removes lead now 3.2 seconds. And Badman to the inside. Gets the nose in. James has to give him the space. Side by side on the exit. Flying Duck will be looking to pick up on whoever wins this one. James nips back in front. And Cott into the pit lane here. The first of our leaders to stop. And looks like James is going to follow him. James follows him. Oh, James! Damage for both cars there. James hits the barrier. 5-second penalty for a collision with Flying Duck. And Duck loses his front wing. And that could jeopardize him on his first stop. And he tried to react, and he did react briefly. James out. James calling it in the pit lane here. Comes our second retiree of the night. So now that Cott has shown his cards first, he's the first one to blink. We'll see if the rest of the field follow him in. Of course, the only other car who's on the medium tyres in terms of that lead pack was Grumio. And PJ and Shane are both still on their starting tyres as well. In terms of the medium runners. Everyone else was on the hards. I imagine Cott will try and go the next 18 laps on those. And Shane with a 3-second penalty for himself from multiple warnings. Race Control dining out a second time penalty for track limits tonight. But Shane is still closing on PJ. And the fight between JB as well as Shane and PJ are broken up. Grumio stayed out. Caught to the inside of Wisburn, takes away P5. Could Wisburn come back at him though? So Wisburn does not come back at Cott. Cott pulling away. His teammate Curtis up into P8 here. PJ Calab making his stop. He's away onto hard tyres. And Shane has not beat him out. Everyone pushing back through. So we're nearing the halfway stage now of this race. It's still anyone's game. Red J being passed by JB there on his fresh, hard tyres. His next target being Ethan on the mediums. Ethan who's challenging Courtney Goblin for P10 right now. And Grimmo's in. The race leader making his way in. Imrie and Grovey following him. So those guys will be on the mediums now. But for how long can they go? They have to get around him and try and build a lead before those mediums start falling off. Flying Duck went onto a set of soft tyres his last stop. Cott now the fastest lap. And Cott takes the lead here. big change. Cotner back in front. Badman still leads the way, but I dare say the Alfa Romeo about to make light work of him here. Both Cot and Grumio on hard tyres. Grumio's 2 laps fresher. And he'll use that to his advantage. Wisburn, they're still on the racetrack. Imrie and Grovey now on the softer tyres. So could we see those guys start to chase down our 2 race leaders once again? We have a 4-car scrap for first place potentially on our hands. Everyone quite split up for the minute here. The closest fight being JB holding off Courtney Goblin and PJ Khaled. Ethan and Red J both in. Medium tyres going to both cars. The Ferrari is away. The Alpine's away. And Cot being held perhaps a bit more than you might have liked here by Badman. Cot to the inside. DRS in his favour. And he will move back in the top spot. And we hope... Oh! Cot came across Badman on the exit there. If Grumio can get to work on Badman quickly, he could get him a chance of passing Cot once again, and we could have a fight on our hands. Badman is earliest on the brakes, and Grumio is P2 now. Once again, a half-second covering the 2 leaders we come through to start the second half of this Grand Prix. I have no doubt those hard to make to the end. It's those medium tyres on Imrie and Grovey that I'm concerned about. They got to put into good use early and start closing that gap. And they've closed a bit with Badman keeping the 2 leaders at bay. Now, where does Grumio make his move? Does he make it soon and go for it immediately? Wisburn into the pit lane here. DRS deployed. Battery also deployed. Cot has no defense here. Grumio to the outside of the racetrack. Reclaims the lead. And Cot's going to need to get some battery back under the... back in the engine of that Alfa Romeo. Grovey passes Imrie for the first time today. Grovey into the net podium places. Imrie looking to try and close that gap back down again. Speaking of gaps, Cot's keeping obviously him and Grumio to a minimum right now. Half-second covering them. He's going to need DRS in his favour to get himself closer to the race leader and championship leader. Flying Duck sets the fast lap of the race, win at 31.5 on those soft tyres. Had to recover what he can here after that incident with James in the pit lane. And I notice the car running behind is always going a bit wide on exit. Just perhaps trying to avoid some of that dirty air from following directly. It's not particularly helping Cot right now as they run through the last 2 corners, but he's still right there. A mistake from Grumio could allow Cot back in the picture in the race for the lead. On to lap 18. And Badman's in. This will move Grovey and Imrie back into P3 and P4. And Grovey sets the fastest lap, but she's still 5 seconds back from Cot. She's got some work to do here. And Imrie has got to get back around her and try and close on those guys himself. Now is it Cot's turn to attack maybe? He's not getting close enough. He's got no badge to make a move with. Kurt's up into P5 now. He's doing a fantastic job. However, I imagine he'll be under a lot more risk potentially to have to pit one more time before the end of the race. We're hoping for a safety car to try and keep him where he is. Fan out in front of Badman here. Badman the mediums though. So looking to go a bit faster in that last stint. Wisburn holding the last point. JB 2 seconds behind him. That's your run through from 1st to 9th. PJ Khaled in P10. It's Shane having just passed Lycom for 11th. Lycom down in 12th. That could be 13th if Lucky Lambert gets him. It is. It will be P13, I think. Lucky around the outside. These two are side by side. Let's keep an eye on these guys. They duel for the lead. Grumio almost a second to the good over Cot now. Lycom reigns in front of Lucky Lambert. So that's P12 and P13. Flying Duck P14 on soft tyres. It's Ethan, Red J, and the exit pit lane of Courtney Goblin, who's in P17. Cot getting to work here, but not closing. Roby's closed the gap a bit. The gap's now within 4 seconds. Within 5 seconds, rather. And Imrie is still 6 seconds back. Just can't get close enough just yet. These two have run so close together, especially in the last few races. Which came to blows at Zandvoort. We're hoping that things keep nice and clean here. And Cot's got a 3-second penalty. And that will make his job that much harder. And Flying Duck's out. Oh, he's crashed it. Safety car's been deployed. Could we catch the crash here? And he's put it in the wall there. And again, that bridge claiming yet another victim, as it seems to almost every season. And with that, with 12 laps to go, the field is neutralised and everyone will be brought together. So both cars from that pit they announced earlier now both out of the race, James and Flying Duck. So an unfortunate end to Duck's full-time debut, but he showed good pace in that first stint, one to be reckoned with in these next 2 rounds. Keep an eye on him now for AlphaTauri. As of right now, the Alpha's main chance of points today stands with Lycon. He sits P10. So 2 places of the points right now, and 3 of the cars in front of him will have penalties, which will make his job a bit easier, but will need a good restart. But with that being said, how does that impact the game in terms of pit stops? Are we seeing him going on to perhaps a fresh set of tyres and run to finish that way? Is it worth perhaps giving up the track position to do that? Do Grumio and Cop both stay out? Oh, looks like Grumio is coming in. Both cars coming in, so it looks like that'll be the main choice for those guys. But I imagine we could potentially see Grovey in it. Oh no, okay, everyone's coming in. Yeah, fast stop required here. Cot's in. Medium tyres going on, he's away. And the Williams team get Cot out in front. Grimmy out in front of Cot. Grovey and Imrie in nose to tail. They'll merge nose to tail. Medium tyres going on as Curtis comes to the pit lane here. C1SMP fan is also in. Looks like the whole field's coming in for the fresh mediums here. Badman's in. Whizburn is in. So to assume everyone's coming in until they're not. So Grimio then leads. And we're going to have a level playing field here. In these late stages of the Grand Prix. It looks like almost everyone will be on fresh, if not tyres only a few laps old. So we're only a few laps out from that pit window. Shane stays out. He'll take over P7 now. Lycon stays out too. And that might put him back inside the points here. It will. Only just. His medium tyres only 2 laps old. The top 4 all behind the safety car right now. Everyone has come in save for Shane, Lycon, Lucky Lambert, JB, and PJ Khaled. So Ethan, Red J, and Courtney Goblin will stay out too. And all of a sudden here, we will be within the final 10 laps and we'll have, as I say, an equal playing field for everyone here. So this could be a very, very different looking race. This looks more like a sprint to the finish now. Pushing on to lap number 21 now. The last car away will be Courtney Goblin. He's just coming through toward the end of the second sector. And from once he gets to the back of the pack, we'll have a race. So with 10 laps to go, when the safety car comes in, I imagine we'll be coming in this time. Grumio leads. I'll go through your order then. Grumio leads from Cop, then Grovey in third, Imrie 4th, Curtis in 5th right now. Double points for Alfa Romeo as it stands. C110P fan recovering to 6th. Shane in 7th. Lycon is in 8th. The last of the points paying cars, places rather. Badman P9, Lucky Lambert rounds it on top 10. It's JB behind up with a penalty. Penalty along with Shane, Fan and Cott. PJ, Wisburn, Ethan, Red J and Coddy Goblin rounds out your order. And I imagine potentially as early as we get to the line in Sector 2, we'll have a start. So it'll be these cars to settle it. Safety car in this lap. So Grimmy will dictate the pace. But when will he go? There's several good places to go. You could go on the exit of the chicane. You could go between the chicane and the last two corners. You could go out of the last corner. You could leave it very late and go midway through those corners. It could go any time you want. But Grimio is the leader. He's been in this position before. You could go as early as this straight now. I imagine he'll want to back everyone up first and then try and bolt. How early will he go? How late will he go? Cott trying to warm his tyres one last time. And Grimmy on the move now. But Cott stayed with him here. 10 laps, top 3 all the way. Imrie didn't get away quite as fast. These cars settle it. 10 laps to go here in Singapore. We're back on the way. Everyone gets away nice and clean here. All single file. Lycon looks to make the first move as he tries to make a move on Shane into turn 1. Dancing all over the racetrack trying to find an opening, but can't quite do it. Cott using his overtake, trying to close in. He's getting close, but not enough. Imrie's put himself back in within the range of the contenders in front of him. Lycon is there on the outside of Shane. He's got it. Lycon in P7 now. Badman behind them in 9th place. The two Aston Martins chasing him. The Alpines, P12 and P14 looking to recover from the opening lap. Top 4 again pulling away. Curtis is second back. He's got Fan for company in P6 behind him. Grimio is so good at that exit each time he gets away. It's fantastic to watch. At least fantastic for us. Perhaps not so fantastic for the 3 cars behind him who are trying to close in and try and nab the lead away. I remember Cott's got that penalty to think about. He needs to get in front of Grimio. He needs to run. He needs to run like the wind in order to get that 3-second gap out. A gap that no one's held all day except for Grimio. Badman passing Shane here. On the inside as they run towards the chicane. Badman now in the last points paying place. He's a reserve, so won't get the points. Those points will still go to Shane. JB with another 3-second penalty. That could be costly for him. Lap 23. Cott still there behind Grimio. Overtake going back on. No DRS in play. I imagine we get DRS, this could be a lot more interesting between these 4 cars who are running single file right now. Further back, JB putting pressure on Shane here. He's got Wisburn for company behind him. Of course, Wisburn will take advantage of both those 2 places, thanks to the penalties of these 2 cars. So he might end up with the last point, provided things have to say how they are. Lucky Lambert holding off a train here. He's got both Alpines for company just behind him. Everyone, all single file. Cott's still there, but he's not close enough to go for a move yet. He's going to need... Oh! Quite a run over the curbs there. It's going to lose him a bit of time. About 6/10 back. That could open up for Groovy potentially to close in. But not as good an exit from Groovy, but he sets the fastest lap anyway. Lap 24. 7 laps to go. Sorry, excuse me. That's 8 laps to go, rather. It'll be 7 when they cross the line. Grimio grazing the wall and exit there. Cott's going to gain a bit more. It's not enough for the lead just yet, but it's enough for the minute. He's going to bring that gap down within 3/10. And Grovey and Imrie still sticking with these guys. JB and Shane dueling for 9th here. Looks like JB's got it. And Wisberg going to follow him through. There he goes on the outside. The Red Bull into P10 now. 7 places back from his teammate, who sits in P3. Cott's still right there, but just can't get close enough. Imrie's used a lot of his battery there, but to no avail. He's back there in P4 still. That Ferrari is not really getting along as much as he might have liked. 7 to go now. The field is split into 3 packs at this point. Curtis leading the last few point scorers. On to lap 25. Fan closing on Curtis here. 2 very experienced drivers going head to head here for position. I mean, number 5 on the racetrack. Fan's got that penalty to think about. So potentially fall out to as low as 8th place. Up front you saw Cott get as close as about 10.5 to Grumio, but nothing yet. Just not as quick on corner exit. That's where he's losing time right now. Good exit that time around though. And making his way through. Gotta be careful on those curbs. He can't go over them too much. That's where he's losing a chunk of his time in chicanes. Slide on exit there. Won't help his case. And Grovey herself in a state of limbo too. As it stands, her gap in the championship to Grimmy would be 23. It would be 15 to Landlord. She's dropping 4 points as it stands. She needs some kind of mistake from the Williams in order for her to try and gain anything back. 6 laps. Saying that, with Cott's penalty, Grovey will move back into 2nd place, so she'll only be losing 2 points. That gap will go to 21. Shorts for Grimmy penalty himself. See Cott putting constant pressure on Grimio here. He's closing in. Could this be the one potentially? He's going to look to the outside. Can he outbreak the record champion? Into the corner. Can't get there. A bit of contact there. He brushed the back end of that Williams, but Grimio maintains his lead. Only just. You can tell that Cott's going to keep on reeling him in. Slowly but surely. He's got a bit wider there through turn number 9. Excuse me, that's turn 8. This is turn 9. Seems to go a bit wider on corner exit. That's what's costing him right now. Oh, Grimmy goes wide. That's a penalty for Grimmy as well. Coppery takes the lead. And this will put Grovey in a key position here. All of a sudden, she's in a spot to try and win the race. Grovey and Imrie are now fighting for P1. Short of a penalty for themselves. Grimmy got a big penalty. That could be crucial for him later on down the line. Cott's away. He needs to get away quickly. Grovey getting to work. All of a sudden, the race is on here. And Grovey cannot wait. Because if she waits, Cott will pull away. Or at that, or Imrie will go for it first. 5 laps. Cott's got 5 laps to pull 2 more seconds on the 3 cars behind him. He's got Grimio. He'll finish as low as 3rd. He can't quite do it. Will Grimio reel Cott back in? No DRS for the record champion who's been in control of the majority of the race here. Badman making the move on Lycon. Those guys both got off the track there. And Lycon switchbacks. That's fantastic from the AlphaTauri to make that move. But it doesn't get enough momentum. And Badman maintains P7 for the minute. Fan right there on the back end of Curtis the South for a Man Machine. There goes the McLaren to the inside. Curtis defends towards the wall. Fan squeezes inside. And the reigning champions is underneath. Contact between the pair of them. They bang tyres. Curtis will stay in front, but Fan not giving in just yet. And this time he's got to. Curtis gets clear of the McLaren once again. Cott's 1.3 to the good. 1.2. 1.1. That gap's closing. Did Grumio get DRS that time? Grove in a net P1, he's racing for the win right now. And if Grumio can maintain DRS to Cot, then all she's got to do is keep the car nice and clean, and she'll bring it home. And all of a sudden the race has changed. She'll be the one now gaining points on Grumio, who at this rate will be finishing 4th if he can't get back around Cot. Mistake from Grumio there. Cot pulls away. Grovey want to try and get around Grumio as quickly as she can here. But she wants to avoid any penalties of her own here. Looking to get her 2nd win of the season. All she's got to do is keep it clean, away from any curbs that could give her a mistake or a penalty, and hope that Cot doesn't pull away. If she can get around Grumio, that'd be preferable to her. But Grumio is as fast, and Imri now also knows what he's racing for. These two both have 1 win apiece. Grumio's coming in Canada, Imri's coming in Hungary. And on that day, Grovey won. I believe she and Imri came home 1-2. We're looking like deja vu as it stands. Further back. Fan still struggling against Curtis. Badman and Lycon hanging on. Wisburn 3 seconds back in the world of his own. PJ has JB for company behind him. Of course, JB has 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he could be finishing as low as P14 at this rate. Courtney Goblin and Red J. I may have missed him, unfortunately. They may change to soft tyres, so apologies for missing that. It's going to be just 3 laps to go. As it stands, look at the gap. 1.4 seconds covers your top 4 on the racetrack. It's been an intensely close fought Grand Prix between these 4 leaders, who have really given no quarter whatsoever in what has been a fascinating race, especially in the second half. Grover is 2 laps from victory. If she gets a penalty, then it's Imri's game to win. If Imri gets a penalty, it's back in Cot's hands. So Cot's hoping he can maintain his lead and hope the 2 cars behind him also get penalties for track limits. It's simple for Groovy and Imri. Just bring it home within the white lines and they'll finish first and second. The question is, which one of them finishes first and which one of them finishes second? And Grumio and Cot are also still fighting. They're fighting for that last podium place, but Grumio just now isn't getting close enough. Now it's his turn to struggle. Cot, that red light still flashing on the back of his Alfa Romeo, showing how low he is in the RS. Look at that bar on his steering wheel there, as he holds the record champion and his fellow race winners at bay. Family outside of Curtis here looking for 5th. Off the racetrack slightly, a bit of a struggle with the gears. But Fan has the inside this time round. Can he get a good enough exit? They come close to contact once again. But Curtis again still stays in front. Oh, contact between all of them here. Badman looking to challenge Fan now. Curtis will be through if he can hold on to this one. Fan will be finishing perhaps as low as P9. He could fall out the points completely if Wisburn catches on. PJ leading JB, with JB out of DRS range now. It looks as though JB in terms of position could be getting closer and closer to that P14 finish, but it could potentially get P13 if he can close a bit on PJ and perhaps avoid that gap to his teammate Lucky Lambert. 2 laps to go up front, and Grovey is really pressuring Grumio now. Remember, she doesn't need to get around him, she just needs to stay where she is right now. Cot's showing no sign of pulling away. Bit of a wobble there from Grovey. And Imri just can't close the gap. He's been sat behind since this, more or less the second half of this Grand Prix before that safety car came out. That changed the race, completely flipped on its head. And just being at the back of this train isn't helping his case at all here. Needs to find a bit more time. Needs to find a way around the Red Bull. If things stay how they are, the championship gap between Grumio and Grovey will be brought down to 15 in the standings. But he'll gain that gap between him and Lalo will go to 11. So still a race well in front. He can, of course, he can bring that up to his own favour a little bit more If he can get around Cott on this last lap. So he's still racing for something. Those two, short of a mistake from Grovey and Imrie, are not going to pull away. So this is our race for the win behind. And this is our race for the podium. One more lap to go. Cott leads the way. Back to turn 1. Save for Grovey and Imrie. Those guys are as they ran from the start of this Grand Prix. Curtis holding off Fan, Batman and Lycon for one last lap. Here he goes. Can he do it? We'll keep an eye on those guys over the course of the lap. We'll have to keep an eye though on our race for the lead too. Imrie not quite there. Grumio not there either. It's a very tense game right now. Can Fan try anything this time around? Let's keep an eye on him. I saw a bit of a wobble from Lycon for the back. Fan closing the gap. Here goes the reigning champion to the outside. He's got a run on Curtis this time. Can he make it stick? Fan over the curbs. He saves it. Curtis has the edge by about a third of the car length. Contact again. This time Fan gets him. Fan pulls in front. Batman looking to double whammy him. There he goes. Curtis defending, almost trying to defend the inside, but Batman's there. Oh, Curtis ran off the racetrack there. And Lycon might try and triple whammy the Alfa Romeo. As many of the leaders are on their way through. There's been no change up front. This looks like Cott's Grand Prix to win. At least for the most part, we're on track. 2 corners to go. Grumio's got nothing left. Cott's going to win the race on track, but thanks to track penalties for Cott and Grumio, the race goes the way of Grovey. She wins the Singapore Grand Prix. Imrie home in second. Cott third, wins the race on track. Grumio fourth, and Fan in the end will finish in P5, but he'll get penalties too. That place will now go to a reserve Batman, but Curtis in the end will still end up with the points, despite losing those 2 places on the final laps. He was in a good position regardless. Lycon 7th, Wisburn 8th, Fan drops out the points, PJ 10th, JB 11th. Here comes Shane. Red Day the time penalties to cap things off. Shane for P12, Ethan P13, and we P11 from the end. JB in the end got 12 after those 6 seconds. Shane P14. Courtney Goblin in P15. Oh, Lycon may have crashed the car there. And Red Day with P16. Short of any change, but Grovey is your race winner. Of course, things will be subject to change if the time penalties get removed for the cars in front. As Reggie gets another penalty there. Comes over the line, P16 in the end. But what a race. Grovey and Imrie kept themselves in the game all night long, and it's paid off. Grovey, your winner in Singapore. Fantastic effort from these guys all around. Hopefully we're able to get some of these guys in to talk, because it was a brilliant race. I need a drink after all that. My throat gets really sore when I do these things. Excuse me. That's your race then. Grovey will win it. It's Imrie in second, and Cott takes third. By my count, that brings the championship gap down. It's Grovey with the Belgian flag out down the podium. Couldn't win in Belgium, not in the Netherlands. Came second last time out in Monza, but this time Grovey gets a second win of the season. Imrie will finish in second position in the end for Ferrari. And that safety car really did change everything in those late stages. So Grovey wins it from Imrie and Cott. Grumio in fourth, Babam fifth, Curtis in sixth, Wisburn seventh, and Fan in the end takes your last point. What's happened to Lycon here? Lycon has finished further back. It was like Lycon was up there, wasn't he? Fan P8, PJ P9, Ethan 10th, JB 11th, Lucky 12th, Shane 13th, Conley Goblin 14th, Red J 15th, he was the last car over the line. Lycon in 16th, but I believe he was further up the field. He was further up the field, wasn't he? I think the game's glitched there. And Flying Duck, Gaming James, and Fergus all go down as DNFs from tonight's event. So that's your race. And we'll get post-race interviews going shortly. So we'll see if we get anyone in here. A fantastic Grand Prix all round. So we'll see if we get anyone about for late interviews. See if we can get JB in for an interview. Potentially we could see one of the podium finishers. I mean, Koch drove a fantastic race. N2 is open to all, so hopefully we'll get at least one person in. Yeah, definitely a brilliant race. The safety car changed everything. I do say, because it seemed as though Gremio and Koch were on to duel for the win, but with Koch's penalty, it looked like an easy win for Gremio. But that penalty he got changed things completely, and all of a sudden that mistake is made as well opened things up for Grovey and Imrie to try and fight. But Imrie couldn't find a way around, so finished P2 for tonight. Good points though. And Koch did a fantastic job, as I say, almost filling in for Landlord in that top four. Typically the group that's pulled away by a decent amount across the season. And we have JB in for a post-race interview. JB, welcome into the stream, mate. How was that for a race?
Yeah, it was tough. Singapore, not the easiest races. Difficult on tyres. Tyre wear was high. Temps in particular were terrible. Even on minimum pressures, you know, they're overheating through all the corners. So difficult race in the top 10 again, but not in the points. So no, it was a good race, and it was mostly clean, so that was good too.
Definitely, yeah, it was clean. I'll give you that. Of course, yeah, we did pick up quite a few battles on the stream. We had quite a bit of fun with, of course, there was Fan and Shane you were fighting with. PJ was in there as well. So before that safety car came out, that was good fighting between you guys.
Yeah, I think we were all on old tyres, and one of us would get past and then make a mistake, and we'd fall back, and it was changing and swapping all the time. Me and PJ at the end really fighting too. I think he had a bit more pace than me, which is why he nicked P9. But no, it was good, and glad to see it was clean. I don't know what happened on lap 1. I think that was the only sort of big incident of the race. So yeah, it was good fun.
Of course, that safety car on lap 19 changed pretty much everything in that race. Left it to about a 10-lap sprint. Did it change the race for you? Of course, everyone came in for fresh tyres, so did it change the complexity of the race for you at all?
Not really. I think people like Curtis got quite lucky because anyone on a 2-stop strategy, and that they could pit at the end of their second stint, sorry. So those of us who'd already pit to go to the end had lost out quite massively, including myself. But that's the way it goes, and well done to those guys who called it right. But yeah, I'd already pit, so it didn't really make any difference for me.
In terms of those drivers who played it right, of course, Grovey takes the win ahead of Imrie, and then Koch in 3rd place. That brings the championship gap down a bit. So you asked me in the interview midweek who you thought my pick was the championship. I want to get your opinion. I know you're not supposed to play favourites, but if there's someone you got in mind for the title, do you reckon?
Well, I've seen that Blaze Gremio, I should say, might get his penalty removed. I don't know if that puts him back in front. So I don't know at the moment. Because if he's obviously won the race after penalties and stewarding, then I put my money on him. But Groby, you know, she's up there consistently in the podiums places all the time, and I think that's what you need. She obviously had that unlucky race in Zandvoort, but other than that, you know, you've just got to be up there, because if a driver can't make a race, you know, if Grumio and today Landlord couldn't, then you know, that's what it's going to take, just being up there all the time, basically. So I will put my money on Grumio right now, but you never know.
Okay, and the last thing, of course, Japan next time out, always good racing. Suzuka, you looking forward to it?
Not a great track for me. It's a fun track because it flows nicely, and particularly on this game, the handling model works well there. But I don't know. I'm just never normally very quick there. Not sure why. It might be a bit of a wheel track because I use controller. But hopefully it's another clean and solid race, and with any luck, I'll get some points.
Hopefully, yeah. Alright, so that'll do us in here. Thank you for coming along. Good race tonight. Hope you had fun. I hope you look forward to watching it all back, because we caught a lot of your stuff tonight. So hope you look forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for the stream, Zach.
All good.
Bye.
So that will do us for tonight. Then that was JB. Brilliant Grand Prix to cap things off for tonight. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more RDL content. 7 more rounds to go this season. 6 rounds to go. Japan, Qatar, Circuit of the Americas, followed by Mexico, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi. And still a title fight on the line. Grumio's lead perhaps closed a little bit tonight. We'll have to see what happens in midweek. We'll update you all the situation next week as we do. And until next time, hope you guys enjoyed tonight. I've been Zach Ossie, and until our next race, it'll be good night for me.